Hello, my name is Carmen. I'm a Twitch VTuber and I'm also a book lover. I read horror and dark fiction. As always, I'm open to suggestions, so please post your recommendations in the comments. Today I'm doing something a little different. Last weekend I finished two books. One was a physical copy from the library and one was an audiobook from Everand. Instead of recording two videos, I decided to make a weekend wrap up. Let me know if you think this approach is okay in the comments. The first book that I want to talk about is called The Murder Wheel. It is by Tom Mead, I was able to get this book from the library. This is the second book in the Spectre Locked Room mystery series. I reviewed the first book, Death and the Conjurer, in an earlier video. I'll link that in the bottom. This series has been written in the last few years, but they are written in the style of the Golden Age mysteries, like the ones like Agatha Christie and other of those British authors. I started reading mysteries early on in my reading life, but I fell off of reading mysteries because I was kind of burned out on them after a while. Also, some of the authors have since passed away, and so I just kind of got burned out on what was out. So I have been looking for a new series. This is a newer series that's been written in the last few years. And I'm really enjoying that. In this book, Carla Dean is accused of shooting her husband on a Ferris wheel. You can see that in the cover of the book. Of course, they're up in the air. The gun is in the car with her, and there's no way someone else could have committed the crime, or so it seems. Edmund Ibbs is Carla Dean's lawyer, and he's also a magical enthusiast. He knows of Joseph Spector's work, and he hopes that Joseph Spector can help prove his client innocent. I'll admit, I didn't like this book as much as I liked the first one, Death and the Conjurer. It does do something a little bit different where it has another mystery happen at a theater. The original mystery on this Ferris wheel gets a little muddied. But in the end, I didn't really like the conclusion or the explanation for either one of these mysteries. I still would really want to read the rest of this series because I do like the format of having that classic locked room mystery, but for me, I didn't like this one nearly as much as the first one. And they spent a lot of time on that second location of the theater and not as much time on the first location, which is this Ferris wheel. So I thought that it's almost as if it's two stories put into one. I would recommend this series to fans of the classic cozy mysteries, even though I didn't like this one as much. And I do plan on reading the rest of the mysteries. I believe there's four books out right now in this same series. But I would say, like, if you are a fan of the cozy locked room mysteries, this would appeal to you. If you're more into a thriller novel with a bunch of twists and turns and a lot going on and fast paced, this wouldn't be the book for you because this follows the older style of their contemplating a lot of the mystery and going back and forth. So there's not a ton of action going on. So for my second book, I read The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. This is the first time I have read T. Kingfisher. I know I'm a little bit late to the game, and I do read a lot of horror, so it is unusual that I wouldn't have already read a T. Kingfisher, but this is the first one. I was able to listen to this as an audiobook on Everand. In this book, a woman who is just as dressed as Mouse is asked by her father to go clean out her grandmother's house, and she's recently died. Her father really hasn't been in the house since they put her grandmother into a nursing home. So Mouse and her dog Bongo go to her grandmother's house in North Carolina. When she gets there, she finds it's a hoarder haven. There's newspapers everywhere. There's junk everywhere. It's just piled up in boxes everywhere. And as she's trying to clean out the loads of newspapers, creepy dolls, everything, she finds writings of her step grandfather who has died several years prior to her grandmother. And in those writings, she finds out that there are odd happenings in the woods surrounding their home. And she's trying to figure out if maybe her step grandfather was suffering from dementia towards the ends of his life, or was he actually seeing things? But then she starts to see things start happening in the woods around the house. So then she's trying to figure out maybe there is some validity to what her step grandfather was writing. And she also talks about her grandmother who was very mean and didn't like anybody or anything. And so she's kind of seeing that maybe he was suffering from some abuse from her grandmother. Now things are starting to line up and with what her grandfather was writing, and she starts asking questions around town, trying to figure out what's happening. This book spoke a lot to me. I also have family members that are hoarders, and the thought of having to go clean out their houses terrifies me. I would honestly just call someone to bulldoze the whole thing, and as soon as creepy stuff started happening, I'd be out of there. Mouse's inner dialogue was very comical. I loved it. She was very sarcastic, very funny, and the narrator of this book delivered the lines flawlessly. I fell in love with her goofy dog Bongo, who is a bloodhound, and then she has the neighbor Foxy that comes over and starts helping her. And Foxy did not hold back her thoughts. She's also very witty and very lively with her quips. This book was funny, it was creepy. I highly recommend it to horror fans. And I'm a little sad that I haven't read T.K. Fisher before, but this is not the last book that I will read from T. Kingfisher. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to reading the next book. So I hope you enjoyed me doing two reviews this time. This is a little different from the single book reviews I've done in the past. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for watching my reviews. I hope you have a great day. Bye.